Hudson County View live and uncut. I'm your host, the reflection of perfection, and your number one selection, John R. Heinis, and of course the latest and greatest in Hudson County news. So a lot of interesting things this week, like just about every week. And for starters, we got a Hoboken councilwoman, that's Tiffany Fisher, suing the city over campaign finance, some call pay-to-play rules. And you guys know that we spoke about right here in the studio about this ordinance that went before the council and was approved in December that raised union donation limits from $500 to $7,200. She contends in the lawsuit that things were done wrong procedurally, and that led to some council action last night, so we're going to tell you what's going on there. We also saw today that Bayonne Mayor Jimmy Davis has announced his fourth candidate, the first non-incumbent, that's Jacqueline Weber, running in the second ward in light of Councilman Salgalace announcing he wouldn't seek re-election as an independent or on the ticket of Council President Sharon Ash Nadrowski, who has, of course, announced that she'll be challenging Davis in the May 10th contest, so we'll tell you what's happening there. We also have some interesting history for those of you that are looking for more details about Sean Cattle, and of course this is arguably the biggest story in the state and beyond today. That's of course the consultant turned hitman. He pleaded guilty to paying two men to kill Michael Galdieri back in 2014. So we're going to talk about what's happening there. And we're also going to be joined in the studio with 8th District Congressional candidate Rob Menendez Jr. Before we take a break, just a quick programming note for those of you that may have not seen my Twitter feed yet today. Just wanted to say this will be the last one in the studio for the foreseeable future due to budget constraints. All media partners will go on hiatus after this week. So I just want to thank you all for the opportunity. I want to thank Pat, Lynette, Mike, Jonathan, all that made this broadcast possible. I've had a great time doing it, and hopefully we'll be back sooner than later. I'm aiming to be back with you guys live in some capacity in March. So with that in mind, we're going to take a break, and we'll be back with Rob Menendez Jr.
Good Friend Self-Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer a Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunnelly Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self-Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunnelly Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunnelly Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net.
Hudson County View live and uncut, John R. Heinis. And as I just mentioned a moment ago, today I'm joined with 8th District Congressional candidate Rob Menendez Jr. Rob, pleasure to have you. Thanks for coming in.
John, thanks for having me.
So look, obviously your candidacy has been something that's gotten a lot of circles talking well beyond the 8th District, right? We've seen op-eds and we've seen commentary online about how politics shouldn't be a family business and it should be a coronation and it should be a more democratic process. Obviously, you've seen it and heard it. What do you say now that you've come out the gate and announced that you're running for this open seat in the 8th District? How do you react to that kind of commentary?
Sure. Well, first, thanks for having me on today. Second is what I've said all along is there's a primary in June. There's two other folks who are running as well. Voters will have an option in June. So look forward to having conversations like this, engaging the community, and working towards that primary. The second point is I can only speak for myself, right? I know how I feel in this moment. I know how I feel about the 8th Congressional District. This is where I grew up. And having the opportunity to potentially represent the folks that live here, that call this place home, would be an honor. And I feel like in this moment, there's a lot of work that we have to do. So I'm up for the challenge. I'm hopeful for our country's future. And I think the 8th Congressional District shows us the way that we can have a more inclusive country. And that's why I'm running, and that's what I'm looking to fight for.
All right, so on that point, as you just said, it's a three-man race at this moment. Why do you think you're the most qualified candidate in the field?
Sure. So first is the only place I've ever called home. I believe in the 8th Congressional District. This is where my family planted their American roots. And I've seen it, from the time I was born, the time my parents and grandparents came here. It's been a place that's provided an opportunity for families to come and grow their American roots. It's been different waves of immigrants, even with the Latinx community. It's been people from different countries who are leaving different challenges to seek out the same opportunity, the American opportunity. It's something that I fundamentally believe in. I think we have to not just preserve it, but grow it. Listen, I think I have the professional civic experience. I've seen people who have really been dedicated public servants. My own family, including my mom, who is a teacher in the Union City public school system. And I have this core belief that we as individuals can do more for our communities, and I'm prepared to do that.
All right. Now, some people disagree that your resume is ready for this role because they say, well, the only real thing on your ledger is you sat on the Port Authority board for X amount of months. I think it's 10 months now, maybe. So, the people that think maybe you're not ready for the big stage, so to speak, how would you respond to that?
Sure. I wouldn't be running for this position if I didn't think I was ready. I wouldn't run to not give people the best possible advocate that they can have for them in Washington, D.C. I've been in touch and worked with leaders like Brian Stack, who's the first person to support this candidacy. I've studied how he provides constituent services, and I've seen it my entire life. I've seen it with my mother and my father. I've seen it with my grandmothers who were involved in our community. I have an understanding of how we can provide better constituent services to folks. It's a particularly important thing for the 8th Congressional District. In the current construct, which is pretty much how the 8th Congressional District will be for the next 10 years, 44% of the people that call this place home were born abroad. 1 in every 4 is a non-citizen. So, having resources at the federal government level, right, and having great district offices that have staff that are handling these cases and ensuring that people have those federal resources and have their issues heard and have a staff that assists them is something that I believe in, and I believe is a great resource that we can provide to the 8th Congressional District. It's something that I want to make sure happens, and it's a continuation of the great work that Albio and his staff have done for the last several years.
Got it. Okay. And just on the Port Authority, just tell us a little bit about your time there, what it means to sit on that board, and how you've tried to, advocate for New Jersey at that end.
Yeah, for sure. So the Port Authority, 2 things on it is it's a great agency. I think a lot of people are frustrated by the lack of progress that we see, the lack of big thinking that we see, and the Port Authority is doing it every day. Big projects from the 3 regional airports, Newark, LaGuardia, JFK, completely redeveloping those 3 airports, plan for the bus terminal, which a lot of New Jersey residents use. The agency has shown it can do big things. Now, I want to be clear about this. The credit goes to the professional staff there. The commissioners are appointed by the respective governors of New York and New Jersey. In New Jersey, we were confirmed by the state Senate. We serve in a non-compensated volunteer basis for 6-year terms. We meet monthly, have committee meetings where we do a lot of work. We engage with the community on issues that they see with respect to Port Authority facilities. But all the credit goes to the professional staff. They are public servants. They are leading the agency's mission to keep the region moving and to provide a great infrastructure system, a great system of mass transportation to the folks that call the 8th Congressional District home and the region beyond. So I'm proud of the work that we've done there. I'm constantly, ear to the ground, especially in Jersey City and Hudson County, with ways the Port Authority can do an even better job with respect to some of the facilities that sit in the 8th Congressional District, that sit in Jersey City where I live. So listening to community leaders, listening to elected officials, listening to civic groups who want to see certain changes, and being mindful of those views as we serve in our role as commissioner.
Thanks, Rob. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We're just going to take a quick break from our sponsor. We'll be right back.
Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Ford made their first all-electric SUV a Mustang. Rapid acceleration, reactive handling, 300-mile range. You control how it feels and how it sounds. It knows you. It dials into your preferred settings. It has an array of driver assist technology. Cameras and sensors enhance your awareness and provide you with additional control. But it's more than cutting-edge technology. It's the spirit of it. It's a Mustang.
Hudson County View live and uncut. John R. Heinis still here with 8th District Congressional candidate Rob Menendez Jr. So when we're talking Port Authority, I mean, you know, there's a lot there, obviously, but it's largely like travel and infrastructure based, right? So like when people are talking about like, hey, I can't get a path straight on the weekend, you know, like my airport terminal's been delayed like 3 times. Like, is that something that the board has any oversight or any ability to change at all?
Yeah, so we're monitoring, and the staff does a great job of reporting on how different facilities are performing. You know, we're aware of when there's potential, you know, changes in services because of long-term capital improvements that they're making to certain assets. So, you know, we're aware. I think the Port Authority has done a good job, continues to do an even better job of, you know, making the public aware of when there may be disruptions in service or changes in service through the different social media accounts, and, you know, trying to give the user of our facilities as much information as possible. But, you know, one of the things that, you know, I was involved with the last couple of months was working on the 2022 budget as part of the Finance Committee, you know, working with the professional staff, CFO, on that item, which is, you know, continues to be a challenge because, you know, there no tax dollars go to the Port Authority. It's a fair and fee agency, and, you know, as you know, people aren't moving the way they used to. So the staff did a phenomenal job of putting together a budget for this year, in which we, you know, considered long-term capital projects that we want to see to improve the quality of experience that folks have, while also being mindful that people aren't going to be able to fully engage in travel the way they used to, just because we're continuing to live with this pandemic.
Great. All right. So on another policy, Ed, you know, I just saw today that U.S. Rep. Donald Norcross jumped on the Medicare for All bill. I know that you have Donald Payne on there as well as a sponsor, and you know, I think a couple other members of the New Jersey congressional delegation have hopped on in just the past like 6 months or so. Where do you stand on Medicare for All at this point?
Yeah, for sure. So I think the underlying theme that everyone agrees with, we need to do a better job of creating more access to health care. I think there's currently 6 different policies that have been introduced at the congressional level, Medicare for All being one of them, Medicare X, which was introduced by Representative Delgado in New York. And they all have different components that work in different ways. You know, and it sort of depends on the constituency, the communities, but, you know, Congress is working towards creating more access to health care. Medicare for All is definitely one of the items on the table, and I think it's, you know, looking at those options, figuring out what can pass, what can deliver that change, and in the interim, continuing to work on the Affordable Care Act, you know, creating more access and more opportunities for people to take advantage of the program, including extending tax credits for folks, you know, expanding eligibility, which, you know, in the short term can provide a fix while we think about long-term options.
All right, so you're undecided which bill you might put your name on or vote for at this moment.
Yeah, I think we have to continue to look at all the options and see what we can actually get through Congress.
All right, fair. So let's talk a little local politics on the home front. So we saw, obviously, right before Christmas that the HCDO and also a lot of Union County Democrats came out and said you were the best candidate for the job here. And interestingly, you know, look, I don't think anyone was surprised with Brian Stack or Senator Sacco, so on and so forth. But I think what did surprise people was Jersey City Mayor Stephen Fulop. It's no secret that the Menendezes and the Fulops have not been best friends over the past few years. So how did you guys come to a meeting of the minds on your candidacy here?
Yeah, well, first of all, honored to have the support of the folks you mentioned. You know, it's humbling. It motivates me to continue to work hard at this. And honored to have Mayor Fulop's support. You know, there's a lot that we can do at the federal level to improve the lives of folks in Jersey City. I'd be honored to have the opportunity to work with Representative Payne, who also represents part of New Jersey. Part of Jersey City. You know, to deliver change for my neighbors and the folks that call Jersey City home. I think the mayor knows that's why I'm running, to bring that change to our neighbors, and I was honored to have his support.
So of course you don't want to betray confidence, but I mean, when you guys are speaking behind the scenes, can you shed any light on what you guys talked about and how you got to this same level ground here?
You know, I committed, made the same commitment that I make to everyone who lives in the 8th Congressional District. I'm going to work hard every single day. There's a lot we have to do as a country. There's a lot we have to do for the 8th Congressional District. And just laying out my vision of what that is and what I intend to do. And like I said, just honored to have his support and, you know, look forward to working with the mayor and all the other electeds in Hudson, Essex, Union to provide the change that we need for all of our constituencies.
All right, thanks, Rob. And just any closing thoughts before we let you go today?
Listen, I appreciate the opportunity to be here today. I appreciate what you do for Hudson County and the folks that call this place home and keeping them informed. You know, I know this may be in the short term the last day for the show, but look forward to continuing our conversation and keeping the electorate informed of what we're working on.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I'll be back sooner than later, and we'll be in touch the whole time. And we thank you for joining us.
Thanks so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. We're not done yet. We're going to take one more break, and we'll be right back.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers a quality of life you deserve in one of our many high-rise towers. With amenities such as the on-site Newport Path, light rail, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Kohl's, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams and Acme Supermarket are just outside your front door. A health and fitness center, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. Enjoy the New York skyline from our waterfront and various parks. Manhattan is just one pass stop away, or a quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Looking to visit? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. For more information, visit us at newportnj.com. Make lasting memories to cherish forever. It's incredible. It's you, Newport. Live like you want.
Not everyone celebrates the birth of a baby. You have options. Don't panic. New Jersey has safe havens for unwanted infants. Leave the baby with staff at any hospital, ER, police or fire station, or rescue squad. Call the number on your screen for safe haven locations or go to www.njsafehaven.org. No shame, no blame, no names. Safe Haven.
Panapinto Properties, Jersey City, shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces and addresses your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panapintodevelopment.com. Panapinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Ford made their first all-electric SUV a Mustang. Rapid acceleration, reactive handling, 300-mile range. You control how it feels and how it sounds. It knows you. It dials into your preferred settings. It has an array of driver assist technology. Cameras and sensors enhance your awareness and provide you with additional control. But it's more than cutting-edge technology. It's the spirit of it. It's a Mustang.
Hudson County View, live and uncut. John R. Heinis. So let's talk a little bit about Sean Cattle. Again, as you guys know, last week, as we discussed on this program, this is a New Jersey political consultant that pleaded guilty to paying 2 hitmen to hire Michael Galderi, who was a 2005 Jersey City Council candidate and otherwise Politico in 2014. It was a fairly gruesome situation. You know, the 2 men stabbed him to death and then lit the apartment on fire, and he pled guilty, again, to hiring them. So with that, a lot of people have been wondering, have been questioning, you know, who did he hire, when were they hired, who paid them, how were they paid, so on and so forth. So I was able to do a deep dive looking into Arcady LLC, which was his consulting firm, as well as some of the super PACs that he ran throughout the state, always supporting Democratic candidates. Many of you are well aware that one of his biggest allies was State Senator Ray Lesniak. He was actually on his staff at one point. And actually one of the people that helped give him a start in Hudson County, because Cattle is actually a Jersey City native, and a guy who was the executive director of the HCDO at one point was U.S. Senator Bob Menendez. At the time, he was Congressman Menendez, and also the HCDO chair. So a lot of interesting tidbits here. I don't want to read the whole thing. It's a lot to process, but I think let's just look at an excerpt, though. Sean left the organization after 2.5 years to run the ground operation in the 13th Congressional District when the congressman received a challenge from a young upstart, Stephen Fulop, and that's from Cattle's bio on the Arcady website. So some people have asked me, well, where can I find the Arcady website? Where can I see the Front Porch Consulting website? That was his firm before Arcady, and they're both defunct. But thankfully, these things are typically archived, and I was able to take a look at the archives, and that's how I was able to see what was written there. So in that matchup, you guys know that Menendez won by quite a large margin, 87-13. That was the June 8, 2004 primary race. And for his efforts, Cattle received $63,175.09. That was mostly for fundraising consulting fees. This was between August 18, 2004 and June 24, 2004. And that was according to reports filed with the Federal Election Commission. And like I said, there's a lot here. I don't want to read too much, but I think it's also worth mentioning that in 2010, while serving as the director of Houston Votes, the group was accused of submitting thousands of falsified voter registration cards after an investigation where a voter machine warehouse was set on fire. No charges were filed. So, certainly something that you don't see every day in that. And, long story short, he also helped a lot of other candidates from whole different levels of government. We see he ran Jersey City Board of Education trustee Sue Max run for Jersey City Council at Large in 2011. He also helped out with Mayor Jimmy Davis getting elected in Bayonne in 2014 through that PAC, Committee for Economic Growth and Social Justice. And there's a separate PAC there talking about the Hudson County ties to that PAC. And we also know that he helped freeholder Anthony Romano run his campaign in 2014 when he was off the line against the HCDO. And he also did some campaign mailers for 3rd Ward Councilman Mike Russo, and at the time, 1st Ward Councilwoman Terry Castellato, who's Russo's cousin. That was in 2015. So all that and a whole lot more. I'll let you guys read it, but I've been getting some good feedback, and I think a lot of details that weren't previously released. So with that, we're going to just move right along to the governmental side of things. So let's talk about Miles Square City. So it's not every day that you see an elected official suing the municipality that they represent, but that's exactly what happened on Friday. And what happened was that 2nd Ward Councilwoman Tiffany Fisher filed this lawsuit, 10-page complaint, represented by attorney Scott Salmon, and they're contending that the rules, the state statutes, weren't filed when these union donation limits were raised from $500 to $7,200. So let me read you an excerpt from the lawsuit to paint a clearer picture here. The amended ordinance completely changed the previous version that had already passed on first reading, instead amending the definition of to whom it applied to say, the definition shall be amended the following enumerated manner if the following occurs. If the trial court in the matter of Farina versus DeFesco renders a final decision regarding the enforcement and general enforceability of sections 20D-6-7 of this chapter. In short, what does that mean? What it means, there's an ongoing court matter between the clerk, Jimmy Farina, and the 1st Ward Councilman, Mike DeFesco. The clerk is alleging that DeFesco violated the pay-to-play rules by taking donations that exceeded the limit on the books with the pay-to-play rules. So we're still waiting 20-something months later to see if the court is going to rule on this. It hasn't happened yet. But the ordinance between first reading and second reading added a quote-unquote trigger mechanism, and that mechanism said that this ordinance would not take effect unless the court rules that DeFesco did not commit any wrongdoing, and therefore that would show that the pay-to-play rule is unenforceable. So, there's a lot here, quite a few moving parts, but that's the long and short of it as far as the lawsuit is concerned. Though I think another important piece of context is that Corporation Counsel Brian Aloya wrote an opinion last month that said there is significant grounds for this to be open to a legal challenge because of the fact that there was this possibly substantive change between first and second reading. He recommended the council revote on this out of an abundance of caution to avoid any complaints being filed. They did not heed that advice, and the complaint was filed on Friday, as I said. Now, interestingly, the council, though, in an emergency vote, they decided to vote on first reading again, and they passed 5-2. Fisher and DeFesco recused themselves, and that was kind of an interesting development, considering that the stories about the lawsuit didn't come out until Wednesday afternoon. So that's an interesting one to follow. We're going to keep our eye on that. We're going to take one more break. We'll be right back.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net.
Hudson County View, live and uncut, John R. Heinis. So let's head over to the Peninsula City. As you guys know, those May 10th municipal elections are coming quickly, and this one started early. So we almost know Mayor Jimmy Davis's full ticket at this point. Just this afternoon, maybe about an hour before this program went on air, he announced that Jacqueline Weber will be his candidate in the second ward, and this comes about 24 hours, maybe slightly less, after second ward Councilman Sal Galais announced that he would not be seeking re-election. He ran with Davis in 14 and 18, as I'm sure most, if not all of you know. This time he said that he's going to sit it out and he still wants to be part of his community. It just won't be in an elected capacity. I'm, of course, paraphrasing what he told me just yesterday. We found out on January 21st through the councilman that he was not going to be on the mayor's ticket, and Davis eventually confirmed that he was going to go in a separate direction. He thanked Councilman Galais for his service and didn't really provide any other further details about why we ended up at this point. Nonetheless, from today's announcement, Mayor Davis said, "I could not be more excited to welcome Jacqueline Weber to Team Davis and for more of our residents to get to know her over the coming months. Jackie is one of the kindest, most compassionate people I know, and she has the type of record of helping those in need that we want from our elected officials here in Bayonne." Fairly strong endorsement, of course. Why wouldn't it be? They're going to be running on the same team. Now, for those of you that don't know her, she graduated from Lincoln Community School and Holy Family Academy before entering the workforce as a paralegal in New York. And she continued her career in the legal and finance field before eventually being appointed as National Director of Special Needs Solutions at Comerica Bank. So she's also volunteers her time as a court-appointed advocate for children in the foster care system through the Hudson County CASA. So she said, "Throughout my life, I've always tried to do whatever I could to help people, from making sure the families whose members have varying abilities get the help they need to prosper in all aspects of their daily life, to helping seniors navigate the world of Social Security and Medicare benefits, to advocating for foster children, and much more." So, I think you get the point. I mean, certainly, has a resume of helping people in the Peninsula City. And this is the first non-incumbent, I think is fairly evident, that is running on Mayor Davis's ticket. And she's actually has some familiarity with politics because she's actually going out with Mark Myers, who's been on the Hudson County political scene for at least a couple decades, if not more than that. With that in mind, though, we already know that First Ward Councilman Neil Carroll, Third Ward Councilman Gary LaPalooza, and Councilman at Large Juan Perez will be on the Team Davis slate. So that's 4 out of 5. They need to fill one more at-large seat. And of course, the reason being, Council President Sharon Ashdodrowski announced in December she will be challenging Davis for that mayor's seat. So we don't know yet who is going to be on Nadrowski's team, but obviously we're going to be watching this race closely. Certainly the feature affair, if you will, in May. There actually are municipal elections in Weehawken and Union City, but I don't imagine we're going to be talking about those races very much. I would be absolutely stunned if anyone decided to run off the line, if you will, there. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to pack it in again. A huge, huge thanks to Hudson Media Group. Pat, the production team have been excellent. They've been great partners, great friends. I really appreciate everything they've been able to do for me and for Hudson County View. And of course, it wouldn't be possible either without you guys, everyone that's watched a full program or even just a little piece of what I put on social media. It's very much appreciated from the bottom of my heart. So I'm going to be on hiatus for a couple weeks on these live programs, but I will be back sooner than later, and I'll keep you posted on social media. You guys have a great week.